So now, now we have the acquisitions part. And so you kind of, and this is actually a step-by-step process, right? You're going to answer the phone. You'll fill out a seller lead sheet, right? You get the information, ask all the questions, and then you'll start running comps, right? The only way that you're ever going to know repairs is if you go out and look at the property. So then you go out and look at the property. And then after you do that, you come back and you figure out what your offer is going to be. That's basically what the process is. Okay. That's the acquisitions process. And then you're going to come up with the offers. And offers, you want to be able, you want to learn how to do 3 to 5 different offers. Okay. You're not just a cash offer person. Nope. You can't just make only a cash offer. You want to learn creative deal structuring. Okay. Creative deal structuring. And we got plenty. I mean, every teacher on here, they can all do creative deal structures. Definitely go to Williams, go to Carson, go to Mike's Wholesaling. Everybody, I go to Mike's Land. They all know how to do creative deal structuring, and you will learn like different techniques of creative deal structuring through all of them. Okay, because everybody knows how to do creative deal structuring. Because if you want to be an investor that is doing a lot of deals, you have to learn this strategy, especially right now. Okay. Okay, good. So ARV formula. So now we're the acquisitions. We're acquiring this property and we're making 3 to 5 different offers. Okay. This is creative deal structuring. CDS at its finest. Okay. Now we got it under contract. We put the offer in and we're like, hey, we'll buy this thing for, for $107,000. That's our offer. And the seller says, yes, that sounds awesome. Let me sign the contract. Let's get this thing done. I want to get it sold. All right. So now you've put it under contract. Well, guess what? You need to find some money. The finance department. Right? The finance department. So now you have to find money for your deals, right? Under the finance department, there's 2 different categories. I'm sorry, there's 3. There's 3. There's always 3 in every single one. All right. But the 3 categories are private money, hard money, and creative deal structuring. Right? Private, hard, or creative deal structuring. Okay, especially for investors. Now, right now, of course, you get like super awesome interest rates if you have good credit and you have some money to put down. I know a lot of people are just going out there and buying as many properties as they can in their own name, and you can buy up to 4, and then you maybe could switch those over later and do a quick claim deed or something like that. But for now, you could, if you needed to, buy them in your own name, and then you could figure out how to make them investment properties later. But you could also just go through a hard money lender, right? So if you're going to hold them, right? I would consider, number one, you talking to a hard money lender that does like rentals, or looking at buying a couple for yourself first. All right. Because the interest rates are so low. All right. Or what you could do is if you're rehabbing the homes, right, then you could, you need to go and find a hard money lender or a private money lender to buy those properties. Okay. And then finally, with creative deal structuring, there's so many different options, right? So if somebody's free and clear, you could do owner financing. If somebody's behind on their mortgage, you could do a subject to. If somebody has a lot of equity in their home, right, but they're behind on their payments, you could partner with them. Let's see what else is there. There's so many different types of creative deal structures out there, right? So I would highly recommend learning all those, because especially with passive income, like if you're interested in getting into properties that you hold on to, that's where the creative deal structures come in. All right. And this is the truth, because I just talked to William. We just did a podcast together. And basically what he said was he did exactly what I just told you, which was he bought 4 properties in his own name. And then after that, the banks were like, you're over leveraged, dude. I'm not giving you any money. So he started really educating himself on how to buy houses without any money or using the owner's equity in their house. All right. So that's what you want to learn how to do, is how to learn how to use the equity in somebody else's house to buy the property, or to use their loan to buy the property. And that's called creative deal structuring. Okay, if anybody doesn't know about that. Okay, that's under finance. So you have private money, you have hard money, and you have private money, hard money, and creative deal structuring. And we have a teacher coming on, Yukiko, and she's going to be teaching multifamily stuff, small multifamily. She's coming on. And then we have another one, Lolita, is going to be coming on talking about private money. So we have a lot of people, like a lot of really good teachers coming on. So just keep on the lookout for, like, I try to get the teachers to be kind of specific. I don't want a whole bunch of people just teaching like wholesaling 101. That's boring, right? I was like, no, you got to pick a better topic than that, right? So they're getting like really super specific, which is kind of cool, right? Okay, the next one. So now we got some money. We went out there, we talked to his lender, and we found some money. Now we can buy this rehab that we want to do, right? And then after you find the property, right, and you find the money and you can close on the deal, right? Now you have to start the construction. So that's this right here. That's this one, construction. All right. When I talk about construction, I'm talking about contractors, scope of work. I'm talking about spec sheets, scope of works, spec sheets, and contractors. Project management, basically what it is. That's basically what the construction process is how do you manage your projects? How do you manage them and make money? That's the key, because this is where everybody loses all their money. Now, if you're a wholesaler, obviously you're not going to have this as one of your departments. Unless you do hoteling, or like pre-wholesaling or whatever, where you get in there and you just do like light cleanup. A lot of people do that as well too. And that would be under the construction, where they say like, oh, I can come in and just kind of clean this property up and then I can sell it for a little bit more. That's some wholesalers do that. Okay, but if you're just gonna wholesale it, then you would not have this department. Okay, just so you know. And if you do not understand wholesaling, I highly recommend that you go to Mike Watkins' Friday's class. He does every Friday, and then he has a whole free wholesaling workshop right on the members portal that he just offered to REI USA. And he's there, and he's every week he's there, and all his replays are there as well too. And every single week he's got some new topic that he's teaching, right? So he's here every week for you guys to hold you accountable. So if you really want to learn how to wholesale, I'd be going to his weekly event. Okay, it's like a personal coach, really. I mean, you literally have a personal coach with Mike, because he's every Friday there for you, and then Alice is every Saturday morning. She's there available for you. She does the Arizona meeting, but she's just there every Saturday. So if you need somebody to talk to, I'm stuck with this or whatever, then I would hop onto one of those two. Okay. Let's see what else. And then finally we have management, right? So this is the department where it's like, okay, I'm gonna rehab it and hold it, or am I gonna rehab it and sell it? We have management here, and then we have liquidations here. Okay, so management is like, I'm going to buy and hold this thing. So like, a vacation rental or a rental, something, or multifamily where you're going to hold on to it. That would be this department. And then if you're going to rehab it and then sell it, that'd be liquidations. Or if you're going to wholesale it, then you're going to have a liquidations department. Okay, so depending on kind of which structure which niche that you go into is where, like, you may not have one of these. Okay. And so let's see. So under management, this is like, I mean, this is essentially, this is rentals, turnkey. Like I had just one of my students right now, and she's like, is there anybody out there that would buy a house that has like a tenant in it already? I was like, yeah, it's called turnkey rentals. That's going to be huge. When I first got into real estate investing back in like 2010, just had no idea about real estate investing. I kept hearing over and over, turnkey rentals. Because as we were coming out of the downturn, I mean, in the downturn, everybody was renting, and it was rentals was like, if you're into rent, if you were into investing, you were doing rentals in the downturn. So now we're coming into another downturn, and you're going to be hearing all about rentals, turnkey rentals. You'll be hearing about that more and more and more. And so you could totally you could totally buy a house, fix it up, put a renter in it, and then find somebody to buy it. And that is worth more than just buying a house and rehabbing as a rental. So some people just want to buy properties that already have the renter in it, and they can show that the renter has been paying for 6 months properly. You know what I'm saying? That is a huge area that you can get into. Or you could just rehab it and then sell it, right? Or you could rehab it and hold on to it. All right, and you could do that for the multifamily or single family. Okay, multifamily or single family. All right, so that is management. When you get into management, like 3 things would be like training your tenants, tenant screening, training your tenants, right? And then how do you profit from rentals, right? Managing those rentals properly. Okay, that's the management side. And you would have the department, which would be basically like, how do you find your tenants? How do you screen your tenants? And how do you manage your tenants once you have them? And that would be under management. I ran out of room, so I'm not going to put it down here. How you find your tenants, how do you screen them, and how do you manage them once they come in? And screening is just as important as finding and managing, right? You want to find good tenants, right? And then finally, liquidations. And liquidations is like, if you're wholesaling your property, liquidations is like having a buyer's list, right? So once you get it under property and you create a wholesaling package, right, to blast out, to give out to everybody, then you need to have that buyer's list, right? And y'all all should know where you get your buyer's list from, right? You just go onto the members portal, and all of our members are right there. And you could just take all those people's information, and you could just blast out an email to everybody right then and there. Or you could call them up and say, look, I'm in your area. This is in your area. Would you be interested in buying this house? Because their phone number, everybody's phone number and email's there for everybody. Okay. So you definitely have an instant buyer's list. If you're a wholesaler, you have these people. And then number 2, on the members portal, you have a place to list your properties for sale. And please take advantage of this. If you ever find if you have any properties for sale, you should be listing those. Just go into the members portal and click on properties for sale, add a property, right, under properties for sale. And then you add all that stuff in, and then the entire community gets access to that. But not only that, it goes onto the main website. And the main website is where we get thousands and thousands of views every single month. So it's really like a nationwide MLS is what it is. All right, so we're selling those properties for you. And that's free for all members. Okay. That's and you could do ugly houses and pretty houses. I mean, you could do land, you could list any type, commercial, small, any type of property, you can list it under properties for sale. Doesn't have to be specific to anything. Okay, so make sure that you do take advantage of that when you do get a property for sale. Okay, so if you're a wholesaler, you have several options. You could post it out in the private Facebook group. You could have your buyer's list and let everybody know about that. And you can list properties for sale. list your property under properties for sale. That's 3 ways. I told you every single way, and every single one is 3 ways. And then also under rehabbing. So if you're rehabbing your house and then you're going to sell it after you've rehabbed it, that's where you're going to hire a realtor, right? You're either going to, number one, hire a realtor to list the property and get it on the MLS, or you could do what's super popular right now, which is flat fee listing. That's what I did. In the very beginning, I started out paying a realtor. I had actually an in-house realtor because we did like a ridiculous amount of houses a month. I think we sold like, 10 houses a month or something, some ridiculous amount of, oh my God, it was so many houses. And so we had an in-house realtor that was managing all that. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, man, my realtor, she made a couple $100,000 off of me. So then what I did was I was like, okay, I'm going to try flat fee listing. I got to save me some money here. So I started doing flat fee listing, which costs like $500 or whatever. And I started listing my properties and selling them that way. And I literally saved hundreds of thousands of dollars doing that. And so you could also do that. Now, the thing with flat fee listing is that you have to be able to negotiate that yourself. So, I mean, I had already done like 20, like something like 25 rehabs or 25 or 50 rehabs before I even did the flat fee listing. And so I kind of knew how to do all the negotiating. So I don't really recommend it. I mean, you could always do it, but I don't recommend it for newbies, but after a couple of deals, it's kind of like me with my, my storage facilities, right? So like I bought my first storage facility. I had no idea what I was doing, right? And I was like so scared of raising the rents that I was like, I was like, if I raise rents, everybody's going to leave, so then finally, after a year of owning our first storage facility, I raised the rents and nobody left. Not one person. I kicked myself in the butt because I wasted like a whole year and like wasted a whole bunch of money, right? It's the same thing with, your houses. Now, when the market gets harder, maybe we need realtors to sell our properties. But right now, the market's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why not just give flat fee listing a try and just see if it works, So there's a lot of options out there with liquidating your properties that you need to liquidate, essentially is what I'm saying. You got the iBuyers, you got the ML, you got the realtors and the agents, and now you got flat fee listing as well too. So plenty of ways to liquidate your property, and every single one of them is different, So, and once you really get into the game, you kind of figure out, what's the best ways to sell your house, sell your property. Like for me, like storage facilities, I know that like I would get the most bang for my buck right now by listing it with like on the MLS, or with a commercial broker, because people paying crazy prices for those things. So I would want to get like, the most money. But maybe in a downturn, where you're going to lose some money on a property, you might want to consider listing that yourself. And a lot of people do this. Is okay, like especially when you screw this construction department up on your rehab, and you screw the whole thing up, and you're like, oh crap, now I'm like way over budget. You're like, okay, maybe I should just list my property and do flat fee listing so I can keep some of that money for myself, right? Those are kind of like some tricks that you can do throughout your property. So essentially those are your departments. Depending on which niche you're going to get into, you're going to have one of these departments. You're going to go through one of these like last couple of departments. Okay. Do you have any questions on the 6-step system? And hopefully I gave you at least 3 things from every single one of those departments that you should be like, now your homework is to draw this out. Okay. And put it on like either a notepad or a big Post-it note. Like I have this wall right here, you can't see, but that's where I put like all my Post-it notes, and I draw things out and they stick to the wall. You draw it out and then you make it legible, like not as bad as mine, right? You draw all your departments of whatever your company's going to be. If you're not going to do, if you're not going to hold your properties, then you can get rid of this one. If you're going to wholesale, then maybe you get rid of these 2 or whatever, what I'm saying? So kind of to draw your company out. And then underneath each department, you write the 3 things that you should be doing, right? So under office, you'd have like structure in your LLC, phone, electronic, make yourself electronic and virtual. Under marketing, you'd have free, direct, and online marketing. Acquisitions, you would have the acquisitions formula, which is really like, this whole formula right here. Under finance, you would have private money lending, hard money lending, and creative deal structuring. Right? Under construction, you're going to have like contractors, scope of work, spec sheet, and like project management. All right. Under management, you could have like, find them, train them, tenant screening and train them, and then like, manage them or something like this. And then under liquidations, depending on if you're wholesaling, rehabbing, then you would have like those 3 steps as well too. All right. So if you could do that, take a picture of it once it's done and post it in the private Facebook group and tag me so I can see that you're actually doing your homework. All right, this is management and this is liquidation. Management is if you're going to hold on to the property. So management is essentially finding tenants, tenant screening, training your tenants, managing your rentals, right? Managing repairs or whatever. Liquidations is like depending on whether or not you're a wholesaler or a rehabber, what type of property, how you're going to get rid of your properties. If you're a wholesaler, you've got 3 ways to find your buyer's list, right? I gave you those 3 ways. If you're a rehabber, then you're going to either do like iBuyers or flat fee listing or realtors or something like this. Like, how are you going to liquidate your property? So you should have 3 of every single one of the departments, the 3 steps that I gave you underneath each of those. If you can draw that up and draw it exactly the way that I just said it, and then put it on your wall to where you can see it every day, you will manifest that company. You will be able to create that company because you see it visually every single day. All right. So that is what your homework is to create your chart. This is basically your chart, your company's chart or whatever. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called. You know what I'm talking about, your chart, your company's chart. And your organizational chart, that's what it's called. This is your company's organizational chart. Now, in these boxes here, it's going to be like you, right? But as I started growing, I had an office manager I hired. I automated my marketing, so I didn't have to do that. And anything that I couldn't automate, then my office manager would do. I hired an acquisitions person. I hired a project manager. We had a management company to manage any holds that we had. Had a real in-house realtor to sell all of our properties. The only thing I did was money. I was the money magnet. That was my job. So I was the head of the entire company, and over the course of a couple of years, every single one of those positions got replaced with somebody else. And that is what your goal is. And when you have that, and every time I replaced somebody, I recreated this. I put my top 3 priorities for each one. I recreated my manifestation chart, and I would put, I put Sarah here, and I put Patrick here, and I had like Brandon here, and I had, had every, like as I grew, like every time that I updated my chart, and I would have like, okay, just 1 person and then me, 2 people and then all of me, 3 people and all of me. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense to y'all? So as you grow, you can change your chart. You're always going to, change your chart to who is taking over each department. And then you're always going to have your 3 most important things that you focus on. And every time that you change it, those 3 things are, they change. Or this is the beginning steps. These are literally like everything I gave you is the 3 most important things you should be doing right now. But in a year, if you continue to work on this in a year, those 3 steps are going to change. And this whole chart is going to change. Your name is not going to be on all those departments. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Capiche? Is that a yes? Can you say yes on that? Can you say, yes, I'm going to do my homework? Or no, Stacy, I'm not going to listen to you. You're crazy. Okay? And that's what I would like for you to do. Do that and post it out and tag me so I can see that you're actually doing your homework. Right? That'd be awesome in the private Facebook group that we have.